All right, welcome back. We have episode 5 of the the late night roast. Hi everyone, how you doing? Good to see friends in the chat. Yeah, last night was kicking my butt. I didn't have the energy to come on and talk cultural, political stuff, and it's a good thing because I feel like things just pop up in the news on Wednesday. I think they know that we have the midweek hump, so they're like, you know what, let's wait to put anything out there on Twitter, anything in the news. The guys over on the Shagsworth channel, they just need a little bit of, they need some fodder. And just like clockwork, every every Wednesday morning, we generally get this flood of news that I have to jump through. But yeah, thank you for joining for another episode of the Late Night Roast, where we talk about all sorts of things, cultural, political, social, whatever we can get our hands on, because I just need to do something on my own. I'm sick of having a bunch of people around me telling me what to do, what to think. I need to think on my own. If you like what's going on, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. We have support links. You can support us. We do 2 streams now for community members on the first and third Friday of every month. So please join us as a Ko-Fi member. The link is right down below. Appreciate any help you guys can give. But of course, the best way you can support this channel is to like our videos, share them with your friends, comment on the videos and VODs below. That's how we're doing it. So the big incentive right now is to get involved with community streams every first and third Friday. But welcome everybody. Rock Raina, Sergeant Herbs, and of course Ruined Leon. How you doing, sir? Tonight we have the midweek hump starting at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. Ruined Leon will be our guest. That will be the late night show. But yes, you're right, Ruined Leon. This is not late night, as the sun is high in the sky right now. But I couldn't do it last night. I had way too many things to do, and I just wasn't prepared. I just did some easy gaming last night, and then went to bed semi early. You know, I was doing my thing. Hold on one second. Just not prepared. Got this on my neck. I don't want to dox myself. Anyways, great to see. I love this. Great to see everyone. Appreciate you being here for the afternoon edition of the Late Night Roast. Friends, there's never a shortage of bullshit in the world, and that's why I do this show, is because we have to bring it forth. And sometimes there's some really good things that I think are to come out of it all. But I don't know. I don't know. I continue to think, like, what is the end game? What do we do? What are we doing here? Sure, we'll bring all of this up at some point tonight as well. But I need to get my own opinions out there without the distractions of others. But I want to start off with this here. This Gen Z take. Whoa. Because it's for sure important that we kind of we hear both sides of what's going on. We've been told a lot, especially in the feminist movement, that women need to be empowered. They need to be they need to do as a man can do, which is all okay. We can't, no one's saying that you can't measure up, but sometimes it is good and comforting to know that there are certain roles that men and women are great at, that they can just be a part of. And sometimes we're bamboozled. And again, I want to share this because I think it's a very important take of the whole thing. And again, if we're going to be fair and say, okay, like, women are this all powerful force, and why am I over here? If women are this all powerful force, I am boomering hard, y'all. Real hard. Here we go. This is what I need to do. Move this over here, and this over here, and this over here. I got it. Am I calling you a distraction, Leon? No, sir. Okay, here we go. Now I got my controls all in order. Shagrotic in the house. How are we doing? So let's have a look at what this fine young lady has to say. Right. So this has been debunked many times, I believe. Mainly, like if there is a disparity, it's like pennies on the dollar. It's not 75 cents on the dollar. It's like they're separated by pennies. Oh, there's no audio. Did I really boomer this hard? Okay, hold on. Let's restart. Oh, hey, this wouldn't be a show without issues, you know? Sometimes you just can't hear it. Let's start over so we can hear what this lady has to say, even though there's subtitles and y'all can read.
Feminism is a scam. A few years ago, I was an angry, blue-haired feminist. I once believed that male privilege was real and that I was a victim of the wage gap. Now that I understand the true motives of feminism, I know that this could not be further from the truth, and that modern-day feminism is a war on true masculinity.
And what's even funnier, I think, is that it's a war on true masculinity. But the interesting thing is that you have women just becoming men. They're just replacing them again because right, like you can be this and I can be this, and there's no difference between us. It's a really weird thing. Like, well, it's all toxic masculinity, but they're just going to take over the role that a man does. They're still going to be toxic. They're going to take the toxic masculinity as their own thing. I mean, it's always been a bizarre
Before women had the right to vote, most were stay-at-home wives, which meant they weren't working jobs and couldn't be taxed. Our overlords didn't like that. Rockefeller started funding feminist campaigns in media, and as a consequence of the movement, women started entering the workforce and leaving the home.
And again, there's nothing wrong with women entering the workforce. I mean, before anyone tries to clip this and say I don't like women in the workforce, there's amazing women out there who do great things with the career. The problem is that you take something like being an at-home mom and demonizing it to the point where it's not acceptable and you shouldn't do it. It's bullshit. Being a stay-at-home mom is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world. And you might not think so, but usually those are people who don't have kids or have never had to care for kids on a 24-hour basis, and just they don't know what they're talking about. Taking care of kids all day by yourself alone, and then also providing a fair amount of education during that time, is extremely hard and taxing on your patience and your mental stability. Very few people do it well. And a big thing that happened was that we were told that that's not good enough. You're better than that. You can do more. You can do exactly the same thing as your male counterparts do, which again, in and of itself is not necessarily wrong thing. It's just you're demonizing a very important role that people need to do. We need a mother, you need that nurturing love, and you need the father, you need the provider. Again, these roles can sometimes be reversed, but at least one person needs to be that nurturer, that loving part. And that's been the biggest scam to happen come out of feminism, in my opinion. And Trey says, mom job is hard for sure, but it's a different kind of hard job. Exactly. And most of it is, like I said, it's mentally hard on them. It's physically exhausting too, to chase around kids all day, especially multiples. Holy moly.
Children would then be separated from their parents and sent to Rockefeller.
Right. So separating the children from the parents is another important part of all this, because now the parents aren't fully involved with their kids. They're around their kids less, and that's why dinner time became so, sitting down with family meals is so important. This is the time to speak with your kids, to talk to them about their day. How are you doing? Answer their questions, be involved with them. Again, it all sounds well and good and easy, but it's not. It's hard. But that's the point.
Funded schools to be indoctrinated by the state. All of this ultimately disrupting the family unit at its core. Feminism is defined as the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. But in the West, I must ask, what rights do men have that women don't?
This is really hard for people to answer. I've tried to, what rights do men have that women don't? I feel like it's a really, really difficult question for people to answer, because there is no, especially on paper, there is no difference. Now, people's perception of things and what they feel is necessary for a growing culture and society, that's another thing. But as far as legally goes, I don't know if you could find anything on the books that says that women can do one thing and men can't do another. And people will sometimes point to those antiquated blue laws of states where there, there's no cows allowed on the town green on a Sunday or some shit like that. Rules that no one even thinks of, right?
Modern feminists are convincing women that hookup culture, using hormonal birth control, and not shaving is liberation, that toxic masculinity is prevalent and the patriarchy must be dismantled. Through movies and media, we're taught that working for the man, climbing the corporate ladder, and paying tax is more empowering and valuable than raising the next generation. Women have lost touch with our natural loving instincts and birth.
I don't think they've necessarily lost like their natural loving instincts. I think it's just taken a back seat. I think women still, for the most part, like are the providers, nurturers, and I think they still exude that. I think there is a small portion of the population that like goes headlong into it and thinks that this is the only way forward. We need to do as good as the men can. And again, I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that sentiment that they could do what men do, but it's the shift in the culture, right? It's saying that this isn't right and we need to do this that's damaging over time as we're sort of seeing it. It's becoming less and less of a focus. If you look at like our parents, our grandparents and great grandparents, like how it's slowly sort of like they've moved from being the home provider and nurturer down to like they've slowly sort of lost it across each generation, and it is cause for concern. Like, are we on a path to totally destroying that? I hope not. I hope we can reverse it a little bit.
Rates are plummeting. Men and women are not the same. And by protesting for equality of outcome rather than opportunity, feminists are demonizing and emasculating men.
No lies detected. That girl's got a handle on it. Now, whether or not, that's an actual true story of her and if that's her thing, great. But yeah, like the real, so Rock Rena said, I don't like how backseated it may be. Seems priorities are being flipped. Right. And I think the priorities are the priority is moving away from being like a mother, like that, the classical role of the classical mom role is being sort of swept aside, and like that's not empowering enough. Like you can do more, you can overcome, which is not true, but people are mistaking that like all the good that has been done. It's one of those things that's not necessarily quantifiable until it's way too late, right? Like we can measure these things in the long term, but you can't measure them in the short term. And that's one of the issues is like, well, we can't really measure and see right now. It's like, yeah, well, in 20 years, you're going to wake up and see that a generation has gone by and what's happened because of it. That's the troubling part is, and that's, I think a lot of times why the stuff that like quote unquote conservatives talk about are just sort of swept aside, and they're like, that's bullshit. Like, who cares? Like we need laws now, and that law is now. They don't want to talk about like building the culture. They want to legislate your freedoms away under the guise of freedom is like what is kind of like what we're seeing. And the incentive structures are backwards. Well, yeah, like so it's incentivized now to be a single mom, because they get more money from Big Daddy government. The more money you have out of wedlock, the more money you get from the government to support whatever. And it's hard to escape that. People, they get a taste of what it means to not really work for anything. It's like, oh, well, just stay like this and I'll just be complacent and it's okay. When the truth of the matter is that they could be far more successful if they embraced like like stop sticking with the socialist side of things and being taken care of by the government, because you're gonna fall into this trap of it. Everything will just be good enough, and I can't work harder than this. I can only work 20 hours a week. I can't make more than this because I will lose those benefits. You forget how to save your money. You forget how to aspire for more, and it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. It's far more empowering to have every bit of control in you and not don't let the government control it, because they will fuck you over. They will fuck you over. It may seem good right this minute, but they will totally screw you. And it's lost on a lot of people. So I hope we can learn. Southern KT says, it's never too late. We can always take back our values and morals. It starts with everyone deciding family is more important than mansions and bling. I don't disagree. Because that stuff will like when you value your family and stuff, all that stuff will come. You know, having a very, well, you start to realize that a big house is oftentimes just empty. You need to love the ones you're with. Take care of them, because they will create a mansion. Like they will create a home, a real home for you. And you will get the things that you want. Absolutely. People are buying land and becoming more self-sufficient en masse. When that becomes mainstream, the politicians might get the message. Well, the problem is that you have big private corporations buying up giant apartment complexes and houses for cash, and then overinflating the market, so normal people can't buy houses. And that's another big thing. But yeah, people need to learn how to step back and take care of themselves, their homestead, and their immediate community. It's communism without all the death and starvation. You know, take care of your people. ANCAP Gamer, good seeing you, man. How you doing? Sergeant Herb says, disabilities benefits really should be reserved for people with physical or mental disabilities, i.e. vets with injuries, people with medical issues, etc. Don't get me wrong. I've benefited from social programs before, and they are helpful, but you need to escape them, because you'll never do more. Because what ends up happening is the government says, oh, well, if you make any more than this, you're going to lose these benefits. But the problem is that then you can't, because you can't make more than that and you lose your benefits, you won't make more money to not become reliant on the state. That's why it's so important. It's so important that people focus on building their own social currency and their what is it called? Their human capital. What skills do you have? What skills do you have to offer someone else? Like every day I'm thinking, what is it that I do well that I can transfer to another job if I need to? This is what I do for work now. What is my next move? Where do I need to go? And what skills do I take over there? People who think like that are very, very, very successful. And I'm not saying I'm super successful, because I'm still working at it. You need to be building your human capital, build your social currencies, you know, with others around you. It is really messed up how limited it is and forces you to rely on the state, and too many people take advantage of it. Yeah, there's a lot of people who take advantage of it. And I'll tell you what, applying and receiving state benefits is generally a logistical nightmare. You spend a lot of time on the phone, you're sending lots of paperwork in, you know, it's a lot. Social Kate, I missed this comment, but we need to get back to personal responsibility. The community will always have people that need help, but police the system and stop the abuse. Oh, absolutely. There's a lot, guys. There is a lot to this, and it takes a village, right? It takes a village to get to a point where we can be self-sufficient. But the point is, do it now. For those who are raising a young family, now's the time. Learn how to take care of yourself, to take care of your home, to take care of the people you love, and how to pass that knowledge on to the ongoing generations beyond you. Like I'm working, like my next goal is to practice gardening a little more, growing my own food. Just vegetables, obviously. Like that's something that is an invaluable skill, learning how to take care of plants so you can live. Again, if something happened and you shortage, groceries or goddamn food shortage at the store, you're able now. You need to learn how to grow your own food. You learn how to package it. You learn how to store it. All that stuff. It's really, really important. And we're losing that. We're losing touch with that side of things. We're so reliant on so many other systems. We're reliant on big companies like Amazon and Target and Walmart. It's so important to not be dependent on them. Learn how to do that stuff yourself. That's why cooking at home, people should be having multiple sit-down meals at home with their family. Talk with your children. Make a meal from scratch. It's a great skill to have, and it's a great stress reliever. I love cooking. And actually, what I've done, I used to cook a lot, but my wife does all the cooking and I do all the cleaning. Learn the balance, folks. Learn the balance. Let the wife cook. You clean that shit up. Be thankful. Say thank you. Teach your kids to say thank you. You know how many times, like a week, I'll say, my wife put the food on the table and I'll say, make sure you say thank you to mommy for cooking us a wonderful dinner. Thank you, mommy. Boom. Teach kids to be thankful for the things they have. Don't let them take that shit for granted. It is one of the hardest things in the world to do, like just basic manners. I work with young adults every single day. It blows my mind how much they take things for granted. They don't say thank you. It takes $0 and zero effort to say thank you. And a little bit of forgiveness goes a long way, I think. People are not perfect. I am not perfect. I constantly make mistakes. My kids drive me insane. Sometimes I yell at them. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I really get down to their level and speak with them face to face. You have to do the same thing to normal people. Talk to them. Be willing to give forgiveness, because nobody is perfect in this world. Not one of you in this chat is perfect. Anyone lurking, anyone watching the VOD is perfect. Learn to give forgiveness, and learn also how to keep space. It's okay to forgive someone. It doesn't mean that you let them immediately back in, but you're willing to give them a chance to grow. You know how many times in my life that I have screwed someone over and I have tarnished my own reputation. It took years to get that trust back, but for some of them, they're back. Others, maybe not. That's all on me, but other people have given me a chance. I will almost always give other people a chance. It's important that we do that as a society, I think. Of course, for some really egregious acts, we have to be careful in how we forgive. But Katie says, supper is important for a family. It keeps your kids communicating and lets everyone feel a part of something. Yeah. Yep. Herb says, my parents taught me to thank Jesus for my mom cooking. It was weird. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter like where the thankness comes from. The thankfulness. Doesn't matter where it comes from. It's important that you offer it, because, not everyone needs to feel validation all the time, but it feels really good when someone says, hey, thank you for doing that for me. That was really nice. I really appreciate it. Or like that turned around when everything was sort of like I was on the outs. Great. You never know. You never know when you're going to make a huge difference. I heard this really sad story. It was a TikTok, but this guy said he was a man who used to investigate, suicides. A lot of people jump off the Golden Gate Bridge, so he would investigate them. Obviously, the people are, they committed suicide, but he wanted to know, like, what were these murders, or was it, someone committing suicide? So he would investigate those. And one of the last ones he ever did was this guy who jumped. He left a letter, and that, wasn't uncommon for people to leave letters. But what really had struck him about this, and what really sort of cut to the core of him, was that in the letter he said, if anyone stops me on my way to the bridge, I will turn around and come home and keep living my life. And the guy said that broke him. Like, it was one of the saddest things, because we just never know, like, what our words could possibly do for someone. That's not to say you need to stop everyone on the street, but I get these inklings every now and then to just, like, as I'm passing by someone, and say, hey, how's it going? And they know that it's not like a conversation starter or anything. It's just one of those things that it might make someone feel good. in a moment. You never know. Or just telling my students and the young adults I work with, I'm really proud of you for what you did. I'm proud that you got your certifications. You never know when that's really going to hit someone to the core and get them to make the best decision in their life, or just turn it all around. It's something that's not practiced enough, I don't think. Seth Trellins, welcome. He's at work saying hello. How you doing, Seth? Good to see you. Southern KT says, that is the key here. We have a generation of children. They can't grow if they see no faults. My parents told me whose parents told them they are perfect. Children need to know they are flawed and make mistakes. Yeah, I think that's an important part of growing up, is understanding that failure is a part of success. And that's not something that's communicated, I think, effectively anymore. And it's something that's hurting people. Like, they fail and they immediately give up. They fail and they cry for days, or, they cry for too long and then they just give up on what they're doing. No, it's a part of it. You didn't get it. That's okay. Try again next time. I almost always refuse to help my son in video games because I need him to figure it out. Like, this is not hard. This is not too hard for you. This was made for you, and you can overcome it as long as you try. As long as you try. And he'll get upset, but almost every time he will put down the game and come back to it and beat what he couldn't beat before. Easy. I mean, not easy. It's tough, but that's the point. Just put things down, take a step back, take a breath, and get back to it. Try again. Most people fail way more times than they succeed. That's the point. And it's part of your critical thinking skills, right? Oh, I failed this time. Why did I fail? What did I do this time that what did I do this time that I could fix next time? Try again. Parents present themselves as infallible. Yeah, there's some that do. Absolutely. It's really, and that's a hard part of it, right? You need to let your kids know that you make mistakes too. And that's why when you go overboard and you yell at your kid too much or too hard, it's important that you take a step back and say, I'm very sorry. I did not mean to do that. I was out of line. I made a mistake. Whatever it is, whatever variation of that is. That's important because it shows vulnerability. It shows your kid that they can do the same thing. Oh, I'm sorry. And my kid does that now. My older boy, he will do that. Oh, I am sorry. I did not mean to do that. Sometimes he says it like not knowing how to, properly communicate it. But the point is he's keyed in as to admitting his mistakes. He's not afraid to admit when he's made a mistake. Very important lesson to teach your children. Silvar Orger, welcome, dude. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I thought this was an interesting. I'm gonna open this up. Interesting quote. Serena Williams. It's an article done in Vogue on her. One of the quotes pulled from that is, if I were a guy, I wouldn't be writing this because I'd be out there playing and winning while my wife was doing the physical labor of expanding our family. Maybe I'd be more of a Tom Brady if I had that opportunity. Huh. Really? Arguably the most successful female athlete in the world thinks she'd have it better as a man. I don't understand this line of thinking. You're the most successful woman in the world at your sport. Like, I almost get the feeling like she's mad she's a mother. Is that what's happening? Is she mad that she has to be a mom and she can't do this the rest of her life? This is, I felt like I had to comment on this because I just can't imagine being this privileged and still having some sort of issue with your life. Oh, woe is you. You're so successful, but oh, if only I were a guy, I could be out there doing what I want. But instead, I could be slaving over this thing and raise a family and like, oh my Lord, lady. God forbid you contributed to the next greatest generation on this planet, this country. Like, is it just me, or does she despise being a parent? Like, if I were her kid, I'd be like, well, thanks, Mom. I guess maybe I wish I had a mom who cared too. Real success is not enough. Got to win the Oppression Olympics too, right? And again, for someone who is so insanely successful, and it's like when you hear tennis, when you hear women's tennis, who do you think of? You think of Serena Williams. You don't think of any other person besides Serena Williams. And she's out here saying, "Oh, if only I were a guy and people would recognize me and I could play sports more." Right. Just give up the very, very best job on the planet of being a mother so you could go hit a ball around. Or maybe just realize that you're older now and you can't hang with the young ones. I know I suck at sports right now and I wouldn't stand a chance. But yeah, either Venus or Serena are the people you think of when you hear women's tennis. Not good enough. Not good enough. Okay. Right. Serena and Venus would be the only ones I could name at gunpoint. Yeah. Maybe Anna Kournikova. I've had the pregnancy conversation with people before, and it directly impacts the wage gap. But women don't want to admit they choose to have children and stay home with children when they are sick. Right. Because you are the nurturer, the caregiver, the provider, you are the nurturer. The children literally feed off your breasts. There's no closer connection to your child besides being in the womb than breastfeeding. Men can't do that. Men go out and work and they provide their family with the roof over their head and all the chilled Chardonnay that bitch could want. It's just never good enough. But it's not good enough. It's not like they think they need to take the place of men. Well, who's going to take your place? Again, men could be the nurturers, but it still doesn't happen in the very same way. But you need that dynamic. You need the provider, the caregiver, and the father and the mother, and then the nurturer and the mother. Whoever assumes that role, obviously the women are definitely better because, especially early on in life, because that's just what they're meant to do. Our hearts are tugged. That isn't something to be ashamed of. We have a natural instinct to protect and nurture our children. It's beautiful. It is. And I wish that people would stop with the whole, like, why is this not propped up as the very best thing in life? How are we so far removed from that? How are we so far removed? It's sad. It's sad. Because being a mom is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And it's like they don't want to do that. So they would rather do what a man does. I guess it's easier. I guess. But it's hard, like Trey said earlier, it's hard for a completely different reason. Being a father is hard and stressful for their own reasons, not even in the same way. And that's okay. That's okay. When you decide men's roles are superior and must replace men, they wind up minimizing femininity and feminine roles. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I don't know. That's where we are. We are here. What is this? Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Let's oh, not this one. Let's talk real quick about Twitch. Because Twitch is where I got my own start with things in the content creation space. So this bundle of joy decided to say, streamers, let's talk, lurkers. Lurkers are not high value viewers. When someone sits in a stream without talking, they are not enhancing your content or adding value to the stream. Encourage lurkers to talk. And if they don't, evaluate where you stand in your community, where they stand in your community. This is probably the worst advice you could give an up and coming streamer. This almost seems like troll advice in order for others to alienate their community. Lurkers contribute just as much as anyone else. And when you allow them to do so, they feel way more welcome than when you call them out for just sitting there and not saying anything. Do I wish that every single person engaged in my chat? Absolutely. I wish everyone responded to everything I said. But guess what? That's not a realistic expectation. People have shit that they're doing. Like, a lot of you are probably working right now and listening in passively. Others are engaged and are maybe on your lunch break or whatever. I thank all of you for whatever it is that you do. Whether you're watching this VOD, whether you are sitting here live right now, it's all good. Lurkers are the very backbone of your stream. There's no reason to call them out. There's no reason to look at your viewer list and say, "Hey, so and so, why didn't you say anything today? What are you doing? Oh, never mind. You don't want to talk? Banned." Do not do this. If you're a content creator, ignore this person's advice. Lurkers eventually will engage and will say something. And honestly, I consider it a win if I see someone lurking. I don't watch my viewer list anymore. I used to have my viewer list up. I don't pay attention to it anymore. But I used to, and I used to notice who would lurk, and that's fine. Don't call them out. Eventually they'll say something, because that's a huge win if they do. That means they felt good enough and comfortable enough in your chat to speak up and say something. There are some lurkers who don't engage in chat but come back and comment. But how are watch hours not contributing? Oh, they are. And whether it's on Twitch or YouTube, lurker view hours or view minutes are just as valuable as active. Lurkers still provide views and also allow the more vocal chatters the opportunity to interact. Right. So the thing is no, chatting, sharing the stream, those all help promote that. They all help YouTube promote the stream to other people if you're not a subscriber. Chatting, comments, they do help, because they measure those metrics of how often people are chatting. But this is no way to grow an audience, to call people out for just viewing. Did someone say cheeseburgers? Oh, lurkers. We love our lurkers. That tweeter is dumb. Absolutely, he's stupid. But for those who are up and coming in the content creation space, like myself, I'm not an expert. I'm certainly not famous for doing this. Lurkers are very important. They feel good about being in your space. Let them be there. Let them hang out and enjoy the content from afar. And some people just don't feel comfortable saying anything. Like, they feel like they might say something dumb. That's cool. I say stupid shit all the time, though, so feel free to say whatever you want. I have one viewer who comes in all the time. He comes in and says the weirdest shit to say hello, and then he doesn't really say much. He'll lurk for a while. That's awesome. That engagement is hilarious and great to me. Good. Keep doing it. I love you. I will make everyone cheeseburgers. Yo, I am the grill master. When we have family parties here, I'm the griller. 9 times I'd say 70% of the time I'm the griller. Sometimes someone else will take over. Love grilling because I'm a master blaster over here. And we always have a side of ranch for you. Yeah. Tune in every Wednesday if you want to understand that reference. So yeah, overall, people are really freaking stupid. So this is something I saw. Well, we're probably going to talk about this more tonight, but I certainly wanted to bring it to people's attention because it's important is an important part of all this. I will make cheeseburger on whatever grill is available. Yeah, good stuff. I rarely speak in chats, but always watch live streams. That person's stupid. Okay, back to lurking. Hey, Marine Alien, appreciate you. See? There we go. There we go. We got it. We got some interaction from the lurker. Fuck you, stupid person on Twitter. Huevos Rancheros. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. This was an interesting... what are we doing? Sorry. Share screen. Oh, here we go. Georgia couple charged with using their adopted children to make child porn. The state allowed them to adopt. This shouldn't be allowed. It's not the first time this happens. So that's a stupid comment, first of all. But then Lori Kelly MD. So people have been saying this might be a troll account, but what they said was also, I would look at where the boys come from. Maybe their birth families were worse in their physical, emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse. The boys could have been better off with loving sexual relationships. Main problem is when they grow up and want romance. Yeah. That was my reaction too, Alex. What a perfect fucking reaction. Again, not every gay couple is guilty of this, but this is the stuff that people, it does not help anyone. It does not help anyone in this community. First of all, these two guys will likely burn in hell. Hopefully. Using children in this way, in a sexual manner like this, is absolutely fucking bonkers. Why would you ever think that you weren't going to get caught, but also that this was somehow acceptable? Like, and this comment is even worse. Like, I hope to God that it's a parody account. And Kenzie Tuff also said the same thing. Like, this better be parody. What do we do? Why have we lost so much? And why, like, is it lucrative for these accounts who do stuff like this? Is it lucrative for them to make comments like that? Like, if a bot account like this or a troll account like this gets enough followers, is it lucrative enough? I don't even know how you make money on Twitter. How do you make money on Twitter? Do people do it besides like with affiliate links? Good God, that, like, good fucking God. I don't know anymore. I don't know. I want to cry. That black guy, that like that's how I feel right now. That's how I feel. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. It's a great Wednesday. If you guys didn't know, tonight on this channel as well, we have Ruin Leon as our guest on the midweek hump. It starts at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 11 p.m. Eastern Time for those of you who don't know how to use a clock yet. It's certain to be something else. He was on for about an hour last week. And like I said, he'll be back this week as well. So I hope you guys can join us for that. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but it certainly did. Oh, we live in a very, very troubling time, friends. And it's really up to a lot of us to sort of wrangle it in the best possible way that we can. Oh, Trey sent me something yesterday that was so funny. Where is it? He sends me so many tweets. Does fucking here it is. Yeah, this fucking guy. This guy just makes me want to lash out irrationally. Okay, share audio tab.
If you're a survivor and you have any cell service, go to 1-800-621-3362. 1-800-621-3332. If you're
the leader of the free world. Fucking Joe, dude. Oh, this poor guy. They keep stringing him up and putting him in the camera and having him say things, and it's very troublesome. It's very troublesome to see him act this way. And it's not the only video like this. There's like this goes well beyond George W. Bush. Like George W. Bush would have like coherent like statements, but they would just be weird and awkward. He just like forgets what he's talking about. He just forgets what he's talking about, forgets what he just read. There was another video of him. Let me see if I can find it. Again, I don't know who shared it. It may have been, was it Trey? He's going to shit. Oh, here it is right here. Trey with the fucking win. Watch this. Watch this, man. Watch this guy. Watch this. There's Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and is that the New York governor? And Fat Joe. Sorry, that was wrong. Watch. Shakes his hand. Hey, thanks, pal. Hey, shake my hand. Why don't you shake my hand?
Now our great speaker.
Is this man okay?
Our partner, who all of these bills we've met.
He just looks so confused.
Now our great speaker,
he's like frozen in time right here. This is the guy we're supposed to trust with the nukes, with the switch, with all the key codes. People were worried about Trump having all access to all this shit. This guy can't even make normal human interactions look comfortable. Like we all have had at some point or another that like grandparent who is just sort of there and they're really spacey and they, you know, I'm not saying anything about his mental health. I'm just saying, whoa. It's sad and frightening who is really running the government. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think for the most part, we know that the president doesn't like run the government. It's mainly Congress, right? They have most of the power. Congress and George Soros, right? That's who does. Right. It's never been so clear as it is now that our leaders are just puppets in all this. Nancy Pelosi has more power than Joe Biden. I mean, beware. Again, and the sad thing is, I see Joe making it his whole term, but I don't know how much longer he lasts after that. Like I'm nervous that he's not gonna. He's just so much on the decline. He is not the same man that was sitting on these panels and stuff when he was running for vice presidency with Barack Obama. He is not the same person. He is not as lucid as he was then. He's still a weird, creepy old guy, but these are things that people really need to be paying attention to. Who's really making the decisions? Who's in power? Um, oh my God. And all this business too with Trump and Mar-a-Lago, like, oh, the FBI is going into Mar-a-Lago to check out, to check out what he's been doing. What's he been doing? There's always a headline. There's always a headline about Trump this, or Trump's going on trial, or Trump's aide is being subpoenaed, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever comes of it. Nothing. They find like tax fraud for his like lawyer's nephew's cousin. Like, okay, cool. And like all those, like, when they had the Russian collusion thing, everyone's like, yeah, what about the charges on his lawyer? Yeah, it was for tax evasion or some bullshit. It's not even it had nothing to do with Russia. But that's the thing, is they'll go out and say, oh, the FBI is raiding Mar-a-Lago to find out if he brought classified documents to his private residence. But they won't print the whole thing later on and be like, oh, you know what? That raid that happened, they didn't find anything. It was fine. Everything was normal as a private club could be. Or they'll say, oh, well, we found that he didn't file his taxes in 2009. We found him. Trump guilty. But that's all people will see. They'll see FBI raid, he's guilty of whatever. But have nothing to do with classified documents from the presidency. But everyone has the first headline and they remembered it and they tweeted about it and they said, no one's above the law. These fucking idiots on Twitter, these celebrity pretenders. These people will go on their Twitter platform and bitch about the Orange Man, but they will not say one fucking word about that pedophile fuckhead Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Everyone just shut up. Don't speak about it, because all of our chummy chum friends are in it. We don't want to expose anyone. Yeah, no one's above the law. Get the hell out of here. These people got a lot of nerve. People got a lot of damn nerve regarding no one's above the law. You're right. You're right. And if Trump was guilty of something, he should pay for it. Right? If Trump or any president is guilty of any crimes, foreign, domestic, whatever, they should pay for them. But to sensationalize a president who you just didn't like years after he's out of office is fucking deranged. It's deranged. And every single one of these people in the mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, I don't give a who you say, they all need their heads checked because they're all twisted in a knot. Feelings, not facts. Come on now. Thinking truth is more important than feelings? That's an antiquated thought. Well, and guess who the most based motherfucker on Twitter was the other day when they announced the raid on Mar-a-Lago? Andrew Cuomo was the one speaking up saying, hey, are they going to say what they're going to Mar-a-Lago for? Like, what is this raid for? Like, Andrew, I let all the elderly people die of COVID. Cuomo has a fucking bright idea that no other person thought to ask. I know normal people were thinking that. The people who don't suffer from Trump derangement were sitting there thinking, okay, what are they going to look for? And they keep showing the one picture of Trump with Epstein. Yeah. After which, Trump banned Epstein from all his properties. Right. They don't want to talk about that, though. They don't want to talk about the fact that even the police said when they first came out and were looking and talking about Epstein, Trump was one of the only people who said, you have my full cooperation, whatever you need. He is not allowed on my properties. He is banned. He's the only person. Everyone else, no way. It's all political convenience. Whatever it does for either side, that's all that matters. Well, that helps me. That gets me what I want, so we're going to use that. The mainstream media has lost so much of its public faith. No one trusts the mainstream media anymore because it's just lie after lie after lie. people want to know what's in Trump's taxes, and they want to know what's at Mar-a-Lago, but not one fucking celebrity is standing up and saying, release the names on Epstein's list. Can you imagine why? Because that would totally destabilize everything right now. Imagine that list comes out with all the names on it. Oh boy. Oh man. Can you imagine? But it would cause a lot of destabilization because a lot of these big people would be like out, big time out. It's rough, man. It's rough out there. And a lot of people who are just trying to live their lives, they have no idea that, a lot of this stuff is the way it is. Like seeing Biden the way he is, on TV, it's concerning. It's a cause for concern. The way that the FBI has handled Hunter Biden's stuff, the way Congress has handled it, or lack of handling. This is, these are all really important things that I think, again, if the tables were turned and this were like Trump's kid, or, if this were Trump acting this way, it would be totally different. We'd be seeing a totally different side, people. It's bad. It's all bad, and it's not good. The good news is I think most people just want to live their lives and are happy. I think most people are happy. But I think people who are keyed in on this are worried for how it's going. There's a video. I thought I had another video saved, but I guess I don't. I guess I don't. Yeah, those are the documents that were sealed for 75 years. Yep. No, I don't. Is it 75 years? Probably. Yeah. Yep. We are not allowed to know who was in that little black book. We got to protect all those people. And when they're dead, then it all can come out. Because who cares, right? Because after 75 years, no one's going to give a shit. And everyone who did give a shit will be dead, including all of us. Our kids aren't going to care about Jeffrey Epstein or the people involved with him. Not one. Not one. The only guy I can think of is Andrew Yang, the fake libertarian who was starting the Forward Party. Yeah. Andrew Yang's a big supporter of UBI, which I'm still up in the air on, but again, it puts too much power in the state. Like the state doesn't need more power, it needs less. And while I think that UBI might help some, I think it will become much like welfare benefits are. So, again, UBI is universal basic income, right? So giving everyone $1,000 a month starting when they're 18, it puts a lot of power in the now. And I think, I guess if it were a state thing, I know certain states have tried this and have either succeeded. I believe Alaska has a universal basic income, which may or may not work. I think I could look it up real quick. Excuse me. Alaska's free money for residents hints at how universal basic income may work. This article is from 2019. Let me see real quick. Let me share this tab. Most everyone who has lived in Alaska for a year or more got $1,600, no strings attached. The annual giveaway shares the Arctic's. Oh, it's the oil revenues with its residents. But Alaska's program now in its 38th year is also providing valuable data for research and universal basic income. So this is annual, it's not monthly. $1,600 for a year, that's not. The Alaska Permanent Fund is the closest thing we have to real world UBI. Some studies suggest the Alaskan payments have coincided with overall poverty reductions and improvements to child health, but only research suggests a potential downside. Giving everyone free money may further widen both the gender and wage wealth gap. Shut up. Yeah, Alaska is a totally different place. Less jobs overall. They even pay people to move there, last I heard. I don't know about that, but this is, it's also contingent upon oil profits. And when you shut down oil pipelines and potential oil extraction from these areas, then you will likely see that go away. I don't know. I think UBI creates a dependency on the state, which is something that I've been pretty against recently, because as much as it's helped me in the past, it does way more harm than good, because most people aren't smart enough to realize the limitations that it puts on them. People need to realize that they can do way better for themselves than being on the state teat. Texas has oil revenue too. We have no state tax because of it. Yeah, not sure if that part is true. Just heard about it. Yeah, it might be. I mean, what a lot of companies will do in situations like that is the company will maybe not the state, but the companies that people work for will say, hey, we'll relocate you up here because it's a royal pain in the ass to get up here anyway. So come one, come all. So that is a very, very big possibility that most companies will help relocate. That's the roast, my friends. That's the roast today. Guys, every Tuesday night, I generally do the late night roast. I've been going along in my head quite a bit about how my schedule is going to work moving forward, because there's a lot I can do, and YouTube has been very gracious to me, and we're building our subscriber base really well. So anytime you can like a video, comment on it, or share it with your friends, it is very important in order for us to build that following and subscriber base to get monetized on this platform. And getting monetized, and using monetization on other platforms like Ko-Fi is really great, because it allows me to do member-only streams where I can interact with you guys directly if you want to be a part of the discussions. We do that on the first and the third Friday of every month. And now I'm going to start doing movie nights on Thursday night. So tomorrow night we'll be doing a movie. I haven't decided yet what it is, but I have a list of movies that people want to see. So those, if they're on Prime, I will stream them. You'd have to be a Prime member in order to join. Otherwise, we'll just do it offline and hang out in Discord. But if you subscribe on Ko-Fi, you do get your sub-only chats and voice in Discord. You get your special little tag. And on top of that, you help me really keep this going as a second form of income, and also on a journey to be a full-time content creator, which we're doing okay. We're starting to do more movie reviews. I plan on recording my Prey review tonight tomorrow evening. I plan on recording my Prey review. I have it all right now. I just kind of sort of practice it and go through it. So there's a lot of good stuff on the way. And the closer we get to that 1K sub goal and the 4,000 watch hours, the better off we can be. So I appreciate all of you hanging out, all of you lurking and chatting. You guys make the difference every time. So that's it for the late night roast afternoon edition. Thank you guys so much for joining. Please make sure you join us tonight for the midweek hump. And we have Ruined Leon, and he will be joining us for the few hours of mayhem that we like to do every single Wednesday. They won't let me subscribe twice. Hey, no worries, man. We're currently at 1,000 watch hours right now. We've gotten a nice bump in subscribers recently. Part of my lower watch numbers is that I don't put out enough recorded VOD content. So let's get there, guys. Share this, let your friends know, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and we'll see you guys next time.
I like to put stuff online.